Now, as the good representative from Midland noted, House Bill 4416 raises questions about gun violence in America. We are approaching the one-year anniversary of the Pulse nightclub massacre, which was the deadliest shooting incident on American soil, where 49 people were killed and 53 more were injured. And the question of gun violence is at the front of my mind, because we have a problem with gun violence in America. In 2016, over 15,000 people lost their lives in incidents involving firearms. Now, I know, as we all know, that nearly 2/3 of those were due to suicide. That's not what we're talking about. And according to a recent report in MLive, about 3 people lose their lives every day in Michigan because of gun violence. So we have to do something about this problem. So that's the lens that I'm applying to House Bill 4416, the no training to carry bills. Because the question is, will this bill do something to make our state and our communities safer? But first, I do want to just address some of the proponents' arguments. The argument that this is a coat tax, I want to say that is a very catchy phrase, and so I give a significant amount of credit. But this is it's not just about 1 millimeter of clothing, because we're talking about guns in cars, we're talking about guns in purses, we're talking about guns in backpacks. This is as much a coat tax as a fee for a marriage license is a walking down the aisle tax. Our current CPL process has a fee for licensure that pays for the workers who monitor the application process. And if you want the responsibilities of marriage, you intentionally get the license. If you want the responsibilities of carrying concealed, you intentionally get the permit. And getting a permit's a good thing. To those who argue that we don't need permits because of big government or the mandatory training courses, I hope they remember that the next time that we're driving down 94, right? I'm so glad that we have licensures and folks who've had a chance to have those permits. In this final argument about the accidental criminals, the argument from the advocates is that we need to pass this legislation because we shouldn't close the loopholes that let criminals carry, but rather we should make it easier for those criminals to carry legally. So when you look at those arguments, House Bill 4416 fails. But in all seriousness, the thing that's I think most frustrating about these debates is that we're talking past each other a lot of the time. Because we all swore an oath to protect the Constitution, the Second Amendment included. We all want ourselves to be secure, and we all want our families to be safe. I have no doubt that that is something that we all agree on. But then we're talking about catchphrases and coat taxes as opposed to solutions to gun violence. We have proponents of the bills and opponents have offered solutions that would improve the system without dismantling the safeguards that exists. So in deciding how to vote, I talked to a lot of folks who carry, both concealed and openly, and I've spoken to the men and the women who keep us safe, who've chosen to protect and serve, and I've spoken to prosecutors about the folks that have to deal with who break the law, and I've spoken to my partner, who's the gun owner in the home, extensively about these issues. I haven't seen the rash of prosecutions that proponents are claiming. I haven't encountered a swath of folks who can't go through those basic requirements, and I haven't heard of why in a shall-issue state we need less training and more criminals carrying. What I've seen is law enforcement raising very serious questions about their ability to protect and serve, as there'll be more guns in more places with less training. According to one former state trooper, data from the Michigan State Police notes 2,500 people were denied CPLs, although allowed to own guns, because under current Michigan law, people recently convicted of stalking, criminal sexual conduct, indecent exposure, certain drug crimes, and more than one drunk driving offense were prohibited from getting their CPLs. But they would be allowed to carry. What I've seen is that the outpouring of folks who raise serious concerns that people without training may now bring very powerful and potentially dangerous tools around their children unbeknownst to them, which is different than what we currently do. A member of the Fraternal Order of Police was recently quoted in the Detroit News as saying, "To put a firearm in the hands of someone with no required training is absolutely absurd." So today, I'm going to stand up here with law enforcement and advocates for the Second Amendment and moms who are demanding safety for their children, gun owners, lovers of liberty and freedom, business owners, and reasonable people from all sides of the debate who think these bills don't make sense. I'll be voting no, and I encourage folks to join me. Thank you.